Today we're visiting the classic Georgian brick ranch of interior designer Robin Burnett, nestled atop a hill in Athens, Georgia. Inside, Robin layers family heirlooms, vintage finds, and antique pieces to create a home where her family's history and daily life are at the heart of it all.
One of my favorite memories in this dining room, we've just been in this home for 3 years, so we are still making memories. But when my daughter was 8, she sat and dressed the Thanksgiving table in her roller skates. And so that is a very fond memory. She was scooting around the table with Crystal and China, and I just let it happen because it was really sweet and really fun.
Robin's refined Southern sensibility is woven through every room, blending tradition with a fresh, collected charm that makes the home feel warm, grounded, and beautifully lived in.
This one makes me a little sentimental because the story behind these cairns is the stacks of rocks, and Megan shared with me that she saw the inspiration behind these, that they were indicative of families and like friend groups, and how everybody is needed to stand up and everybody is needed to rely on each other to create the structure. And that has always stuck with me, and I love it so much, and just is a good daily reminder that we really all need each other to walk through life.
To watch Robin's full home tour ad-free, where she takes us deeper into her formal living room and shares her expert design tips, scan the QR code on screen or visit homeworthyplus.com for access to all of our latest episodes ad-free and to receive other exclusive membership perks.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Robin Burnett. Welcome to my home in Athens, Georgia. I can't wait to show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. I'm Allison Kenworthy, the founder of Homeworthy, and we take you inside the world's most beautifully decorated homes and introduce you to the brilliant people who live there.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Liz Lang. Welcome to Grey Gardens.
Click the join button below to access all of our latest episodes ad-free and watch extended cuts of this and other homes, opening the doors to new rooms and exclusive content featuring our beloved hosts.
I can't wait to see, I'm so excited.
And if you're looking to shop items inspired by this and other Homeworthy tastemakers, be sure to use the product links below or scan the QR code on screen to find fabulous furniture, coffee table books, and accessories that can transform your house into a home.
Hello, my name is Robin Burnett. I'm an interior designer, and welcome to my home here in Athens, Georgia. What drew us to our home was, first of all, the style. It is a beautiful Georgian sprawling brick ranch, and we were just in love with it immediately. There were some beautiful architectural details that I loved. There's crown molding and dental molding outside. There's Doric columns that just really spoke to the scale and proportion of the home. So immediately I knew I loved it. I just had to convince my husband that this was the right way to go. We saw the house when it was gutted. A builder had purchased it, and we were not able to purchase it from him at the time, but once they had done some modifications, we were able to get it, and we came in and they had done the basics, the bones, like the kitchen and the bathrooms, and then we have just added our own details to it with, paint, furnishings, and continue to make it our own each day. This is our dining room. and it is a little bit of a moody color. It's called Amherst Gray by Benjamin Moore. And you'll see behind me one of the pieces of art that I love so much. It's by Paul Meyer. He's out of Austin, and I had the opportunity to meet him at Round Top and fell in love with his art. We have set the table with a little bit of fall inspiration. I love this green color and this light blue that I'm pulling out with the pottery. I just think this is how I would set my table for Thanksgiving. So just wanted to show y'all that. This is kind of a quirky piece of art by Helen Durant, and it's the tush of a goat, but I really like it, and I think it pulls all the colors together in here, and it makes me happy. And then you can just see where all these beautiful pieces have come together for the table setting. I love using local folks. A lot of these pieces are from B.D. Jeffries in Atlanta. They are a wonderful store where you can find so many beautiful things. This is a piece, an antique vitrine that I found in Texas, and I love it. And it is actually under another piece by Harold Holmes Wren. This is probably one of my favorite art pieces. I do feel fortunate that we have a lot of art in our home that I love, but it was given to us when we got married, and it's a scene in Maine, and I love the colors, and it actually takes on a lot of different feels in each room it's been in. And here it's a little bit more moody, but in our previous home, it was a little bit more bright and airy because it was hanging on a lighter wall. I love this trim by Clarence House. I love these antique arrowhead chairs. This dining room is a space where we often host family, we host friends. I do love entertaining. I am 100% a people person, and I love having people over. It just brings me joy, fills me up. We do a lot of entertaining here in some spaces you'll see in a minute, but we really kind of dug into just a funky, casual vibe on this tablescape. Again, Krista Martin-Jones did this amazing centerpiece. I just love the detail on this, the peacock detail on this pottery. I just think it's gorgeous. And then this chartreuse plate is just amazing. And just highlighted it with a little bit more rustic silverware. And then we used all these beautiful gray tones in the glassware. So I just think it's a really beautiful table. And we will host family here. We will have my parents, we'll have my husband's parents over, as well as supper clubs and bringing all our friends together. We were just at a wedding with all our closest friends, and everybody loves coming to Athens because we met here in college, and we probably see our friends from home in Atlanta more than we see them previously. One of my favorite memories in this dining room, we've just been in this home for 3 years, so we are still making memories. But when my daughter was 8, she sat and dressed the Thanksgiving table in her roller skates. And so that is a very fond memory. She was scooting around the table with Crystal and China, and I just let it happen because it was really sweet and really fun. One of my favorite pieces, and honestly, one of the first things I did in this house was hang this light fixture. It's an antique balloon shade, and it is from Holland McRae in Atlanta. They are dear friends, and they just have the most beautiful antique and reproduction furniture. And they created this light fixture for me, and I'm in love with it. It's a little casual than you might find in a dining room, but for us it works, and it's really been a fun addition. We get comments on it pretty much every time someone comes to our home, so I really love it. My favorite thing about my home is the natural light, and also the spaces that we really live in are actually elevated, so the living area is on the second floor of the home, which I never realized how much I would enjoy that. And it's situated on a hill in our neighborhood, so we actually get to enjoy the sunrise and the sunset from the spaces that we spend the most time in. And it's lovely. It just adds so much joy and life to everyday living. And now we're in my formal living room. This room is historically in homes, I feel like they don't get used. You know, they were adjacent to the entryway or the dining room, but now we really create a space that we like to use every day. I sometimes will sketch in here, sometimes I'll do work calls in here, but it also functions as a great space to play games and to entertain. This is where we host Christmas morning, and it's just comprised of really special pieces. I love all the pieces in this space. And again, this was a closed off room before the renovation. And so these cased openings didn't exist. The entryway was a much smaller, typical 3-foot opening. And so we've just really expanded the space to make it flow. One of my favorite details of this room is original to the home, and I love this fireplace. We did not touch it. It had the black and white marble. It was already painted. We did some touch up, but it is one of my favorite pieces. I remember standing outside and looking in one of the windows and saying, I love that fireplace. We are going to have this house. It has just some pieces I really enjoy, an antique fireplace screen, just some beautiful pottery, and the barn glisse art is just something that really caught my eye, and I really enjoyed it and hung it over the mantle. These are antique chairs. They're in a chartreuse velvet. They used to live in my daughter's nursery, so they are actually really sweet memories. We have memories of cuddling her and late nights with her, but their new home is in this room, and they really remind us of a sweet time in our lives when she was just a baby. There is a little bit of a mix in this space. As you can see, I've got this African-inspired coffee table. I love that it's something that I could offset. It didn't have to be the centerpiece of the space, but the black really balanced the fireplace, and I thought it was a good way to unify the colors and the textures in the space. We also have this chinoiserie cabinet, and I love the painted detail on it. It's just another piece that I fell in love with when I was antiquing, and it found a home in this room. We have a federal mirror and some antique tortoise shells. One of my clients told me that Elvis had left the building when I presented him with, some tortoiseshell design details, and that stuck with me. I thought it was very funny. But this is also an antique piece from our family. It was gifted to my husband when he was a baby, and it's a carousel horse, which I thought was just a really beautiful detail. I thought the color was really nice and joyful, and I love the antique frame. When people come into our home, it's really important to me that they feel warmth. It's important to me that they are able to express themselves, to have a cup of coffee, have a glass of wine, and just really meet and feel a sense of connection. So I would say that's an important part of my home. I love having people over, I love entertaining, and it's important to me, whether it's an 11-year-old girl party or a mahjong group, that we are really connecting and creating warmth in our home. I love this sofa by Curating. It is a classic English roll arm. It's got a tight back, 3 cushions. It is very architectural, and it is just upholstered in a white linen, and it really grounds the space. For my personal style, I would say it is rooted in like a classical traditional style. I do love, you know, a beautiful English roll arm sofa, but I also get a little funky with my art and with some details. So I would say it's a true mix of antiques and contemporary pieces. So Brass Peony is a company I own where we find and sell found items. They are many times antiques, sometimes they are new light fixtures, just anything that's really drawn my eye and I want to share it. And so it's given a forum for people to buy something that I have curated. And I just started it really out of a need because I was finding these items and I loved them, and they wouldn't always have a place in some of my clients' existing homes or the homes we were working on. So I decided to start Brass Peony, and we sell to anyone online, and if the item draws them in, then it can be in their home. This is our kitchen, and adjacent is our keeping room. It's one of my favorite places in our home because of the natural light. It is just a room that has beautiful views, and we get this gorgeous daylight all day long. This countertop material is soapstone. It's one of my favorites. It just has this deep green undertone, almost black, with some beautiful movement. And I've always loved it, so it was great to be able to have it in this home. This patterned cafe is by Carrie Joyce. I love the fabrics that they have. They're some of my favorites, and I really just felt like this pattern was soft enough, but also interesting enough to bring me joy daily while we're making lunches and watching TV and doing all the things our family requires. I love this taupey neutral on the cabinets. We went with a satin finish for this space, which is a little bit more everyday, a little bit more casual. It made the most sense for us. But it was nice to transition from white. In our last home, we had a beautiful soft white, but this one has really been had a little bit more depth and warmth in this home, and I've really enjoyed it. And then we have a oak stain on the island, which is kind of like a cerused oak, and it's been really great in here, and we've really enjoyed it. I always throw some antique ushaks down, so adds a little color and depth, and I really enjoy using those pieces. Sometimes people are afraid to put them in a kitchen or to put them in a bathroom, but honestly, they've lasted hundreds of years. They're gonna do well. I love these cutting boards. They are actually antique breadboards, and this is one of my favorites. It's just got that dark tone, and you can just tell it's been well loved over the years. These were used for baking loaves of bread, and they're, you know, early 20th century. They stay here, to be very honest, but people will grab them when they're over and start cooking with them, and it makes me very happy. My husband is the coffee maker in our home, and we got this wonderful espresso machine by Breville, and we have found the most perfect bean that makes our coffee just wonderful in the morning. I will say he's the barista. I don't even think I know how to turn it on, but I do very much enjoy the coffee we make in the morning. Originally in this home, this was a smaller galley type kitchen. So the entry to the kitchen was here and there was a wall. And so it was, very much segmented from this living space. But right before we moved in, these walls were taken down, and like I said before, we really spend so much time in these spaces. I would say this is where, our day-to-day life happens. But this keeping room has the original fireplace, and it has this beautiful field stone, and I love the look of it. Sometimes I'll go into a renovation and I'll want to paint stone, but for this I wanted to keep it as is. And you'll see this painting above the mantle. This is by Megan Roberts' studio, and when we had this piece commissioned, I loved this idea that she had of, it's almost like an ugly plant, but I loved her idea of just drawing out the beauty even in the everyday and even in something that might actually appear ugly to someone's eye, but we can draw out the beauty in it. But I love the terracotta pot. I love how it meshes with the stone, and she is a dear friend and very talented. This is a piece by Made Goods, and it has that pretty rattan detailing on it. And I feel like the oak is just a warm tone. This leather is kind to my family. And this is another piece by Made Goods. I enjoy this ottoman. People can kick their feet up, but we also use it as a table. My daughter does her homework on it. These pieces are the Talavera pottery from Mexico. I just love them. I think they add so much life. They're still a little bit casual, and green is just one of my favorite colors, so they add a lot of enjoyment to the space. When it gets a little colder in Georgia, we will have fires every morning and every night, and it's just such a nice space to be able to be together as a family. We can chat when somebody's cooking, we'll have TV's on watching football, and we really can enjoy this space together. I love these pieces. They are also from Holland McRae, and they are just hard-working leather swivel chairs. They see a lot of people, a lot of visitors, but they work well in here. And a lot of times people are unsure of mixing light and white tones with darker finishes. But I think as long as we're drawing pieces together and we're relating them, then they have a home. This is another piece of the Talavera pottery, and I kind of call it the bullseye plate, but I thought it had a little bit more of an edge in here and kind of an Art Deco vibe. So that was fun to see up. Sometimes it's been a platter, sometimes it's been a centerpiece, but now it hangs on the wall. This is another family piece, a family crest. So that's really been nice to have in our home and create depth and create history. I think it's so important to do that in a space. Even in a contemporary home, I think just nods to what your history is can be so meaningful. This sofa is from Bungalow Classic. They are a wonderful vendor in Atlanta, Georgia, and have beautiful pieces that are both timeless and versatile. And so they are just wonderful, and I frequent them often, and they make it very easy to create beautiful spaces. I love this kind of camo fabric on the pillows, a fun little X table. So in our keeping room, I decided to really play with color and to play with pattern. So this is a table skirt that I've done on a pretty typical console table. It wasn't super interesting to me. It's a trestle table. Some trestle tables are gorgeous. This one just wasn't. And so I had it skirted by my workroom and they did a beautiful job. This blue just pulls out a complementary tone to some of the other tones we have in this room. And again, it's a piece that just brings joy and makes me happy. We have 2 very large labs and they love this table too. It's a space that gets a lot of life. I have these beautiful fluted column lamps. They are also from Holland McRae, and I just love the architectural detail. I love the nod to history with the Fermoy shades. I just think they add depth instead of just a typical white lampshade, which always has its purpose. But I think the light pattern and the light taupe color really pulls this space together. I have no shortage of beautiful decorating and architecture books. Rose Tarlow is one of my favorite designers. I just feel like she has such an amazing eye, and I love getting inspiration from her and other designers, and we use these books. They're not just for decoration. We pull them out. My daughter will trace the pictures. She'll trace my drawings. And so we really, pull them out, use them in meetings, use them at home. This is another beautiful piece by Krista Martin-Jones. So she can do amazing things with orchids, and I just love the color and the depth it brings to this space. These chairs they have this beautiful bent wood arm on them, and I like that they kind of cap off the space. They have a little bit more structure, a little bit more height, and I just think they are a little bit of a masculine feel adjacent to this feminine table skirt. This piece of art by Mallory May is one of my favorites. She is a local artist to Atlanta, and she is shown at Greg Irby Gallery, who is a wonderful gallery in Atlanta, and we do so much work together. But what I loved about it is, as I was studying the series, it reminded me of growing up. It reminded me of backyards, and I was like, is this a swimming pool? And it actually is a swimming pool study. And so the color was great, the texture was great, and I loved just the nod to the 80s and the rectangle swimming pool. This is another piece of art, an art series by Megan Roberts Studio. This one makes me a little sentimental because the story behind these cairns is the stacks of rocks, and Megan shared with me that she saw the inspiration behind these, that they were indicative of families and like friend groups, and how everybody is needed to stand up and everybody is needed to rely on each other to create the structure. And that has always stuck with me, and I love it so much, and just is a good daily reminder that we really all need each other to walk through life. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised. It felt like a small town instead of the big city it is now. But what's been so fun and full circle for me is that I've gotten to do homes in the neighborhood I grew up in. I would say I was pretty creative from the beginning. Was always wanting to build something in the yard or drawing or making a craft project. As I got older, I knew I wanted to be in the creative industry, and I came to college at the University of Georgia, went and talked to my advisor. He said, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "I guess I want to do something creative," and it took me this direction. So I feel like I studied and really trained under some of the best in the industry. My work as an interior designer really gives me a lot of background into homes. My husband jokes with me that I've made him a snob because we ride around the neighborhood and he's like, "Oh, they should have put 2 dormer windows instead of 3 dormer windows." But just my history as working at an architecture firm and my 20 years as an interior designer has really helped develop just the love of architecture, the love of history, the love of the history of design. And I really appreciate classical details, especially being in the South. I feel like we have so much history in our homes and so much that gives us life within these spaces. My dad is also a builder, and so I feel like I grew up around a lot of these beautiful details and saw him hone his craft and watched him with all the people he works with, and really developed a love for everything that goes into a home. So within my interior design practice, I do love to work with homes or clients and architects from the very beginning. We look at all of the plans and we might change door swings, we might do changes to openings. I will work on the kitchens and baths with the clients before we get into furnishings and interiors. But something that has really developed my own style is that love for classical architecture. I was able to study both journalism and interior design at the University of Georgia, and it was really encouraging to me to be able to use my creativity in a couple different avenues. The journalism school here at UGA is one of the best in the country, and so I knew I wanted to really have that under my belt. And then I started exploring interior design, social media, and print and magazine. I feel like we have really melded the two industries so much. I feel like interior design really thrives off its media and publications and visual. So I feel like they really do inform each other, and my history in both of them has really helped me. Welcome to the entryway of my home. This is a traditional space, especially in these Georgian homes. This would be where you would receive people. This house is built in 1958, so we're not having, a typical parlor. But we do have the nice wide moldings and the beautiful crown molding. I've highlighted it with a high gloss color by Farrow and Ball. It's called Mizzle, and it's currently one of my favorite colors. I love the art in this space. So my husband's great-great-grandfather was an artist. His name is Harold Holmes Wren, and these are some scenes from Baltimore. They're also very old, and the story is his wife would do the framing for his canvases. So you'll see more of this art throughout our house, but I do love these pieces. And you can see just the variation of his style, because this is also a piece by him, and I love it. So I love to style a tabletop. I think it can add so much warmth and life to a space. I think botanicals really give so much joy in each area of a home. I love this arrangement by Krista Martin Jones. She's so talented, and you'll see her work throughout my home. This is also one of my favorite books, Poetry of Place by Bobby McAlpine. He is a very talented architect, and I love his work. And then just a fun shade and lamp by Pookie Lighting. And now we're in the primary bedroom. This is another space that is full of natural light. It brings us so much joy to begin the morning this way, to have the light streaming in. It really makes a difference and just adds a whole level of design because we have the natural exterior beyond the windows. I have some very comfortable chairs upholstered in a gold velvet. These are actually by Lee. They have the nail head trim. They've had a wonderful home in this room. I've got an acrylic console table paired behind them. And what's nice about an acrylic piece or a lucite piece is it just creates a light feel, but also a moment that you can display pictures or books and create a vignette without creating so much visual weight. I have a few paintings by Megan Roberts' studio. These are actually vines in an indigo ink, and I framed them with these bobbin frames, which I just thought created a little bit of playfulness to a vine that could feel a little bit more serious, but I think the play of the frame detail really makes them comforting to me. But I love these indigo vines. I have the pleasure of getting to help consult with Megan Roberts Studios sometimes, and we'll talk about color, we'll play with the content, and she has done some amazing pieces for both me and my clients. But I really enjoy them, and again, they create a nice entryway to our primary closet. In this home, as in most typical ranch homes, the hallway, the central hallway, went the whole length of the house. So in the renovation process, we grabbed the hallway, put it to the primary bedroom, and the fourth bedroom on this floor was turned into our primary closet. This is a fabric by Thibaut. I love it. It's just tonal and adds texture. A lot of times I love to create, fabric moments with just a tonal texture as opposed to a pattern. A lot of times a pattern makes, a lot of times pattern can direct a room, and I feel like a tonal texture can really just function as a support to the other pieces in the room. I love the impressionist nature of this painting by Ali Shepherd. She created this gorgeous canvas with the greens and the blues and the white, and it is just a piece I've really enjoyed and fell in love with it the first time I saw it, and have really enjoyed creating those tones in here without being very literal about it. And so I have enjoyed having that piece in our home. We now have a side table by Nearman Weeks. It has got some beautiful carved detail on it. I love the finish. It's got a little bit of a rustic feel, but it's still very refined, and they do their furniture pieces beautifully. We look out on the backyard from our primary bedroom. This home was originally on 3 acres, and some of the land was subdivided and created other homes, but the original owner was a master gardener, and we have these amazing camellias that were once bushes, but really now they're trees, and they are so beautiful, and they're known throughout the neighborhood that, we have these amazing camellias in our backyard. And so it's been really fun to watch the different colors come out, to see what's blooming at different times of year. I love a simple double embroidery by Matuk. I think their bedding is amazing. and it's a great way to create a palette that is easy to work with. Rose Tarlow, as I mentioned earlier, is one of my favorite designers, and I've got 2 of her fabrics here. One nice thing about her fabrics is they seem to be created to work together. And so even though we've got like a sea green with a little bit of a yellow background, this ivy print pulls that sea green blue in with a darker brown tone. And I've just been very happy with these fabrics. They make me smile. I love a starburst mirror, a sunburst mirror over a bed. That was an easy decision and always adds some depth to a space that maybe doesn't have quite as much history. In a bedroom, you have so many functions. I love mixing antiques with fresh pieces, and that is an example of a way to create that depth over a headboard. The bench at the foot of our bed is by Century Furniture. It was a piece I found in their showroom, and it was the perfect scale and proportion for our king-size bed. We use it often. It can be a place where shoes get put on, but it also really anchors a bed without a frame. So when we have just the headboard, it really gives some visual weight to the end of our bed. In our primary bedroom, this is where you might see more of our personal pictures, more personal items that are very special to us. We have just some pictures from our wedding and from when our daughter was little. We also have a box on the bedside table that's from my father that he had growing up. I also love to highlight my daughter's art. I think she's very talented, but I'm biased. But I think it's a great way to put it on an actual easel and make it feel part of the space. And again, we just have some beautiful flowers and just some personal pictures. A lot of times I won't put personal pictures in all the spaces of my client's home, but I find certain moments to really bring those special pictures out. When I'm working with clients, it's really important to me from the beginning to really understand where they're coming from. I feel I'm actually honored to get to work with clients at all different phases of their lives. I feel like I've gotten to be with expectant moms. I've gotten to, work with newlyweds. I've gotten to be with empty nesters that are building a generational home for their grandkids to come back to. I have had the honor of working with families multiple times at different phases of their lives. And one thing that I really try to do is get inspiration from them. And the way I have done that is just, make your board, make your Pinterest board, send it to me. Some people choose to use magazines or, an inspiration from their childhood home. One of the funniest stories I have is a client brought me a picture of an eggplant, and it took me a second, but I did get it. She was like, I know this is an eggplant, but this is what I want. And it took me a moment, but I got it. And I said, you know what? I was like, the color, the life, the proportion, I understand. And that was our inspiration, and we ran with it. But I do really try to understand their stage in life, what is hindering them in their home if we're doing a renovation, what their hopes and dreams are if we're building from scratch. I think it's important to not only impart my design style, but to meet them where they are. And a lot of times, it takes a little bit. It takes a little bit of time to develop that relationship, to develop that trust. But the more I know about my clients and the more I meet with them and we start talking and we go over inspiration, and I might do some sketches for them. We develop the direction we're gonna go. For my own home, I do think my design process is a little different. I have the, wonderful opportunities to see some of the most beautiful pieces that are available in the market, and I might keep an idea in the back of my head, and when I'm developing a new room or a new layer of the design, I might say, ooh, I got to go back and see if that mirror is still available. And sometimes I just, go ahead and pull the trigger, and I might be a lot faster in my process than some of my clients are as they're learning what they love and learning to, mix pattern and color. But because I get to see so many things, I do think I can make the decisions more quickly for my own home. I've really thought about this a good bit, and the word home to me really means being known and feeling warmth and safety, and also just knowing who you are and the people that are there with you. I do think that when you feel comfortable in your home, it shows, and I've had so many clients come to me and say, I stopped entertaining, but when we finished, I started throwing parties again, or I had totally stopped cooking, but after you did my kitchen, we cook every night. And those were things that really sat with me and made me feel like I really had a purpose in design, and it wasn't just designing pretty things, but really helping people feel known in their homes. Homeworthy, it was so fun showing you around my home in Athens, Georgia, but it's time to go now. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.